Welcome back to my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. Thank y'all so much for stopping by again today. Why it's more expensive in the Philippines than you think? Or why does it seem so much more expensive than what everybody tells us? I want to talk a little bit about that today. But we got back yesterday from our little getaway. I was gone a week, man. It seemed like a month. And no matter where you go, man, there's no place like home. There's no place like sleeping in your own bed. And thank y'all so much, man, for all your support and everything over the years. But I always get that question, and people are really shocked when they come over here. Why is it so expensive? Because, you know, we've been told so many times, and it's true, that the cost of living in the Philippines, it is lower than where you come from in the West. But we can't seem to enjoy that difference. And it's for one simple reason. We refuse to sacrifice our standard of living. That's really what it boils down to. I'll give you a perfect example. A good friend of mine, he's back in Canada now, but he was over here for 18 months. His name is Angelo. And this guy's sharp. You know, imagine how sharp you have to be. You're living off your investments overseas at 44 years old when he came. I think he's 45 now. I mean, this guy is a numbers guy. He's the only one I've ever met over here who tracked his spending every single month he was in the Philippines. That's hard to do. That's why we don't do it. But he had some type of app that he was using. He showed it. When we had our meet and greet in Davao, which is where he was living, in 2024, I stayed at his house. And he showed it to me. I think it was like 6 or 8 months he had at that time. But anyway, he said, Cal, you know, I spend the same amount of money in the Philippines every month as I do in Canada. And it's because he wouldn't sacrifice his standard of living. He wouldn't tweak it, not just a little bit. So he was living in a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house in a gated community in Davao with all the bells and whistles, just him and his girlfriend. He ate out at all the nice places, took certain trips. He just wouldn't sacrifice. He wouldn't tweak it at all. And as I look around, most of my friends who come over here the same way. They just won't do it. They've got 65-inch television sets. They live in these fancy condominiums. They paying this high-ass rent. They got new cars. So they don't enjoy the cost of living difference. That's certainly here. I've experienced it myself, man. Okay, not the house that we live, even the house that we lived in before we built this one, but certainly the one before that, the rent was 7,000 pesos a month. And for one full year, we didn't have air conditioning. But after a while, you get used to it. I promise I never complained one time. I just set the fan right in front of my bed. Okay, when it got really, really cold. I just set there, you know, the fan right in front of my bed. But we won't even try to sacrifice not one little bit. All you got to do really is tweak it. There really is a middle of the road solution, but we never even seek it. We just come over here and automatically start living the only way we know how, for real. I mean, but we don't want to learn. We don't want anybody to teach us anything or tell us anything. But you could surely tweak that just simply by your rent. I mean, they've got some low rent over here. But that's why it doesn't seem so cheap over here. And then there's things to buy over here. There's things to spend your money on, and that's what we do. But we just won't sacrifice. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the big reason. And so I don't do the budget videos. They're all different. They're all going to be different. Some people are able to do it. You know, is $1,000 possible? Yeah, but it's not reasonable. Nobody's going to do it. Brother K is doing it. He don't have any other reason. So he's showing you it can be done. But the most of the people, we're not going to be able to do it. We don't have the self-discipline. We're just not going to do it. We want what we want when we want it. We're retired. We're in our 4th quarter. We're going to spend our money the way we want to spend it. So we're going to live right across the street from the mall. in a high-rise condominium with $800 to $1,000 rent. Yeah, I got friends over here that were paying $1,250 a month for rent because that's how they're used to living. They don't want anything lower than that. They don't realize that they could have get the same thing they're getting for about half the price. But we don't look around. We're too impatient. The good thing about living in the Philippines, one lesson you're going to learn is patience. We don't have it over here. So when we get over here, it seems like nothing changes. As a matter of fact, imagine you were getting along just fine in your home country, but when you come over here, you don't have enough money. How could that be? It's because we refuse to change. We're stubborn. But thank y'all so much for stopping by. They just came across my mind, guys, the cost of living is cheaper over here. It really is. But we don't take advantage of it because we don't want to make any sacrifices. We don't want to take any suggestions, certainly nobody's advice. And so we continue to stumble and stumble and stumble. Imagine people going broke over here in the Philippines when you're doing just fine over in America or France or England or wherever you're coming from. Let that sink in, man. How could that possibly be? But one other thing I wanted to say before I got over here, you know, I got a lot of pushback, guys, when I said, you know, the typical Filipina, this was on a live stream, if you watch my live stream, doesn't want anything to do with a foreigner, right? You know, and the women that we deal with aren't the typical Filipinas. And I said, you know, they would much rather date Dawn, who is closer to their age, much better looking than us, has everything in common with them. And y'all push back on that, but I'm gonna give you an example. There's a little guy over here. I say he's the Chris Brown of the Philippines. His name is Ilyas, or Elias is how it's spelled, but I think they pronounce it Ilyas. He's a young guy, a musician. He sings reggae over here. And this guy is like, he has like a Chris Brown following over here. I mean, women just go crazy over him. See, those are the guys over here that they really like. He does something like this or something like this, and women just go wild. I mean, they fall out. This guy, everywhere he goes is standing room only. I promise you, and this is no lie, he drew, they said 1 million. I'm going to say 500,000 fans over here to the Philippines on Charter Day. That's how popular he is. But there's millions of him over here. Okay? And if you don't believe me, go on YouTube and look at this guy. Everywhere he goes, it's just, he's the Chris Brown of the Philippines. But that will let you know what I meant by that. That's who they want. They don't want your old crusty ass. I don't care how much money you got. Okay, but there are women over here that will accept your money, that will change your diaper and, you know, suck your crusty dick. Okay? There are women over here that'll do that. But the majority of them won't. They're not looking at you. They're just being nice, really, and friendly. And we confuse that with, oh, she likes me. And you get the Chads and the Pookies that come over here and thinking they can have any woman they want. Guys, it's not true. Just be happy. I just want we want the women who want us. That makes it real simple, okay? So if in America, if in the Philippines, wherever you are, find your heart to help somebody. Now, a day goes by, I don't help somebody. Because if I don't know anything else, I know this one thing for sure. When we help other people, we help ourselves. Take care, stay safe, stay out of trouble. I'll see you next time. Don't do anything stupid. Open up your eyes and open up your ears. There's a reason they said you got one mouth and two ears. Take some suggestions, man. You can save a lot of money over here. If not, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to be living, yeah, in this tropical paradise, but you're not going to be able to save any money. Some of you are going to go broke. Some of you are going to have to go back home because you refuse to sacrifice your standard of living. It's just not that hard to do, really. Instead of a 65-inch, I've got a 36-inch in there. Okay, I don't have a brand new car. Even though I'm going to get one, it's not, I'm going to pay 1 million pesos for it. Okay, I'll shop at the Filipino furniture store. So the furniture is a little smaller than what I'm used to, but that's okay. I can deal with that. Okay, I'm not hard to please. And I do want to say over there in America, it's very disappointing. I don't care if you're MAGA, I don't care if you're liberal. Hungry is hungry, man. People are suffering because of his shutdown over there. Open up the goddamn government.
Boots on the ground, don't do nothing stupid. Give that man his flowers, a tribute through music. If I don't know nothing, I know one thing.